Good day everyone, I'm Vygotsky Socio-cultural and I will discuss about Vygotsky Socio-cultural theory. For the objective of this topic, who is Vygotsky, what is socio-cultural theory of Vygotsky, the three main principles of socio-cultural theory, three fundamental concepts that define socio-cultural theory, and the main ideas underlying socio-cultural theory. For the introduction of this topic, the social skills and the cognitive development that comes from interacting with others in childcare centers allow for a higher self-esteem. A child with high self-esteem and confidence will be much more willing to interact with and learn from the world around them. And next, the dynamic interaction can produce the psychological state of interest and characterized by increased cognitive and affective functioning. And last, learning about other cultures help us understand different perspectives with the world in which we live. Who is Vygotsky? Lev Vygotsky was born on November 17, 1896 in Orsha, a city in the western region of the Russian Empire. His father was a merchant banker and his mother is a teacher. Vygotsky was attended Moscow State University, where he graduated with a degree in law in 1917. Vygotsky was a prolific writer, publishing 6 books on psychological topics over a 10-year period. His interests were diverse but often centered on issues of child development and education. He also explored the psychology of art and language development. He died on June 11, 1934 because of his illness, which is the tuberculosis. What is socio-cultural theory of Vygotsky? Vygotsky believed everything is learned on 2 levels. First, through interaction with others, and then integrated into the individual's mental structure. The 3 main principles of socio-cultural theory: first, the more knowledgeable others, or MKO; second, the scaffolding; and last, zone of proximal development, or ZPD. First, in the 3 main principle is the more knowledgeable other, or the MKO. Vygotsky conceived the more knowledgeable other as a person who has greater knowledge and skills than the learner. No matter who serve as the more knowledgeable other, the key is that they provide the needed social interaction within the zone of proximal development. And in short of the MKO has knowledge or skills that you don't have. For example, your parents, your teachers, your friends, or your classmates. Next is scaffolding. Scaffolding is a process that supports students as they learn to perform a task independently. Ito sa scaffolding, dito susuportahan natin yung mga bata or tutulungan natin sila na tapusin yung task na hindi nila kayang sagutan independent or ng kanilang sarili. Yun yung tinatawag na scaffolding. And last, in the 3 main principle is zone of proximal development, which is the ZPD. Difference between what can accomplish alone and he can accomplish with the guidance of others, and the gap between what children can do independently and what they can potentially do with the help of other or the more knowledgeable other. Yung sinasabi na what I can do is under na siya ng ZAD, which is the zone of achieved development, where the learners is right now. 3 fundamental concepts that define socio-cultural theory. First, social interaction plays an important role in learning. Second, language is an essential tool in the learning process. And last, learning occurs within the zone of proximal development. First, in the fundamental concepts that define socio-cultural theory is social interactions play an important role in learning, which is when students are observing doing, communicating, and reflecting, they are actively working with concepts and people. Interaction is at the center of the teaching and the learning process. And next, the language is an essential tool in the learning process, which is the learning another language also provides many other benefits, including greater academic achievement, greater cognitive development, and the more positive attitudes towards other language and cultures. And last, learning occurs within the ZPD or the Zone of Proximal Development. Like what I said earlier, ito na yung difference between what a learner can do without help of others and what he or she can achieve with guidance and encouragement of skills partner. Dito na yung pinakaiba, dito na makikita yung pagkakaiba ng isang learners na kaya na nilang tapusin yung task ng sarili lang nila or kaya kailangan pa nila ng tulong ng more knowledgeable others. And for the main ideas underlying socio-cultural theory, according to Vygotsky, children are born with basic biological constraints on their mind. Each culture. Tools of intellectual adaptation. These tools allow children to use their abilities in a way that is adaptive to the culture in which they live. Vygotsky means by the lower and the higher mental functions. Vygotsky differentiated between our higher and lower mental functions. Our lower or elementary mental functions to those functions that are genetically inherited our natural mental abilities. And for our higher mental functions, allow us to move from impulsive behavior to instrumental actions. Ito na yung na-develop na yung ating social interactions sa higher mental functions. And for the conclusion of this topic, in a social settings, Vygotsky tried to understand how individuals learn and produce a unique theory about social learning. He found that teachers can influence numerous aspects, including activities, actions, and responses in an emotional environment. And that's all for today. Thank you for listening. Again, I'm Vygotsky Socio-cultural from Blessed 3.